Seth, and welcome to another personal vlog. I'm just going back. Haven't done these in a while, and I'm drinking coffee, drinking water. One of those kinds of days because it's cold outside. That's right on topic. I'm going to do something today called the asthma vlog. Now, most of you know or can hear that I have cerebral palsy, and you know that's a real disability. Had to learn to walk, learn to talk, although I'm not quite there yet. I had to learn to manipulate things with my hands, especially the left hand. I had to use special pencils when I was in school. I went to school with non-disabled people. I was one of the only people to do so at that time. But having cerebral palsy, it's not what I consider my main disability, and I do a lot of talks around disability awareness, and I always tell the audience that asthma is my real disability. When I was younger, I used to cough and wheeze when I had an asthma attack, which was pretty often. It wasn't uncommon to have me end up in the hospital, in the ER at 2 in the morning when I was 2, 3, 4, whatever. You know, it just, cold weather just got to me. And right now it's December, well actually it's January 1st. Oops, happy 2018. We've had a very cold December with some 10, 6 below, 10 below, 3 below, 2 weeks of that. And normally in New Hampshire, we get cold weather in January, like 10 below, 20 below. But this week is warming up. We're not going to have 10 below this week, maybe. It's weird. But along with my asthma, cold weather active asthma, I am allergic to animals. Cats and dogs and hay and farm animals. Horses. One time my mom took me up the street to see the lady with a horse, my neighbor, Sienna Morgan. And when I met the Morgan, the horse put its face down near mine, and I stopped breathing. That kind of that killed my relationship with farm animals. So it's hard to know when you have asthma. One time I was at a car show, and I ended up having a major attack that night. I was getting sicker and sicker at the car show, but I'll get into that later. Yeah, flowers are another trigger, and basically in winter everything is a trigger because it's so cold outside and the air is so dry that water to make phlegm, coffee to open the breathing tubes, bronchial tubes. Coffee and water do go together. One time, I used to go to Hawaii fairly regularly. I've probably been there about 15 times. The last time was in 2015. But back in 1990, I was like 16 years old, so now you know how old I am. Back then, I had fun. I just got my license, and the first car I drove was a Corvette. Corvette with a removable roof. It was like a 1989 charcoal gray. And it was a car that belonged to a friend of my grandpa's. And he let me drive down Haleakala. Haleakala is a volcano on Maui. It's pretty famous. The astronauts were said to have trained there before they did the lunar landings in the 60s. And they have a great visitors center, and you used to be able to watch the sunrise, but now the tourists have, now they only let a certain amount of people go up there and watch the sunrise. It used to be, a thing that nobody knew about. Well, relatively no one. So, when I was 16, I stayed over at Jack's house. Jack is the guy who owned a Corvette. And the plan was we would wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, drive to Haleakala, watch the sunrise, and then drive back down. And Jack's a mischievous guy. Oh, yeah. I didn't quite know how much of a scallywag he is, how mischievous he is, but I would soon find out. We got up too late to see the sunrise, but we went anyway because it's a great view of the sun rising from the back of Haleakala. Haleakala means house, Haleakala, house of the sun. So the ancient Hawaiians thought that the sun rose out of Haleakala, the volcano, and so that's why it's named that. And the sun was rising out of the volcano like normal. We decided to go down for breakfast, so we drove down and he just stopped. And he said, "Oh, well, I'm tired. I think I want to drink my coffee. You can drive." No, I'm like freaking out because, it's a Corvette. Back then, Corvettes had 345 horsepower. And it was basically all I was driving was my parents' car, which I totaled almost, and I drove the driver's ed car, which was a Corolla, and what did it have? Like 110, I have no idea, just economy car horsepower. So I get into this big thing, and the thing is long, man, it's really long. He let me drive down the volcano, so I'm creeping down, and he's like shoving me over, and I would go off because there's a lot of turns to navigate on the road from Haleakala. So that was the most epic thing that happened to me that summer, obviously. But I started coughing when I was there, just dry cough, dry heap, not producing any phlegm, and it just persisted, and it's asthma. It was asthma. I didn't know it was asthma, but it is, because I was used to wheezing and coughing, not that coughing, the dry hack. So I came home with it, and by September, we came home in August. By September, I was having bronchitis. I was diagnosed that I had bronchitis. I didn't know that asthma could change as you grow older, but now I do, so I'm more able to know that if there's a change I don't know about, it might be asthma or something else. Back to the story I was telling, and I ended up bored. in 2013. No, 2013, January this month, I went with my cousin down to the auto show in Boston. This is our yearly thing. We've done it for about 20 years. I wasn't feeling too hot, but I went anyway. As the day progressed, I got sicker and sicker and sicker. I thought it was a cold or something. But when I got home, I just passed out. My parents had to take me to the hospital. I go to the hospital, well, not a lot. But it's not an unusual event for me to go to the ER or the hospital. This was unusual because they kept me in, they kept me overnight. Now this is an expensive hospital, it's the HMC, and normally they keep two in the room because it's very expensive. And I was in a single room, but I was too sick to know why. I knew that normally we're in a double bedroom or something. 3-bed, I have no idea, but I was in a single. And I was too sick to know that I was in quarantine. Never been in quarantine before. And all the nurses came in and they were wearing masks and gloves. And, I was just too sick. I thanked them all every time they came because nurses need to be thanked too. I was there for about 3 days, January 25th and January 28th. I got out of there, so I went to the doctor, and he said that it was close, that I almost died of the flu because of my asthma. So now, I always get a flu shot. I don't care if this version is only 20% effective. I need to get it because I can't die from the flu, or at least I have to make an effort. My point there is to get a flu shot because, it's 20% effective, but you never know. You never know. You could be fine one day, and because of circumstances out of your control, you could be dying the next day. People die of the flu. Old people, that's what gets them from the pneumonia and the flu. The old, simple ailments always get you in the end. So you have to try and keep yourself healthy by getting a flu shot. If you like these videos, subscribe, like, and subscribe. Yeah. And visit my links in the dialog box below, because you'll see what kind of camera I'm using, lights I'm using. Maybe I should put coffee in there. Water is just tap water this time. So I hope you have a good New Year's Day, and I hope you have a great 2018.